I'm Jay.
And I'm Sean.
And we watched a movie.
Yeah, which one, Jay?
Mulan!
Mulan!
It's finally Mulan Day.
Mulan Day.
We have been waiting for this
6 months?
Since March.
Yeah.
And it's
been
here.
A while.
It is here if you have Disney Plus.
And you pay $35.
Canadian.
Yeah.
Plus tax.
Plus tax.
We're applicable.
We're applicable.
Yes.
Which is everywhere.
If you have Disney Plus and you don't want to pay the extra fee, you have to wait till December 4th, and then it will be available as part of the regular streaming package.
Which isn't bad.
Is not too bad, no. But we couldn't wait.
No.
And I'm glad we didn't.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
It's a good movie. Whew.
Yeah.
I'm glad. I thought the trailers looked good. They looked promising. But it's hard to get your hopes up because I find these Disney live action remakes have been on the disappointing side. I mean, none of them were probably as bad as I feared. But I do think that the more you love the movie it's based on, the less you like the remake. Because I think I disliked the Beauty and the Beast one the most.
You were very disappointed in that one, I remember.
I was, yeah.
And it's not bad.
I'm glad, but it just doesn't justify itself. Why do we need this?
You can say that about all of them up to now because they've been just basically shot-for-shot remakes with an additional song thrown in
for Oscar purposes.
Oscar purposes, yes. Yeah. And Mulan's not that.
Yes, that was decision number one. Was very good. Was to go in a different direction, a more culturally appropriate or respectful direction. So they stuck a little more closely to the Ballad of Mulan, which is the centuries-old myth that that Mulan's story is based on. Not that the Disney version strayed that far from it, but it got Disney-fied, as they always do. Of course, Mulan in the animated version from 1998 had a dragon friend named Mushu, voiced so cleverly by Eddie Murphy. But that was not really part of Chinese culture or tradition, and the audiences there were less than enthused. So he's gone. Of course he's gone. You can't make a serious war movie and have a pet dragon who's basically a stand-up comedian in your pocket. Doesn't work.
Doesn't work.
So neither does breaking out into song.
No.
So the things that you may love from the animated movie are gone from this one. But don't worry, they're still in the animated movie. So if you love that, you can rewatch that animated movie at any time and still get them. This movie is, unlike the other remakes, I think, it is not appealing to the child in you who liked the original. Which I think is what the other live adaptations are trying to recapture some of that magic without doing a lot of extra work. You know, Hollywood only has so many ideas and they would rather remake something old that worked once than take a chance on something new. So we've seen a lot of these remakes, definitely from Disney, but not just Disney. People are going back to the same few wells.
They are, but Disney's taken to the extreme of remaking the exact movie.
Yes. So this one is not the same exact one. It is made for a 2020 audience. It's made for an older audience. It has got a more mature and serious tone.
It's an action movie.
It's an action movie. So let's not compare it to the animated Mulan. Let's compare it to Wonder Woman. Let's compare it to Tomb Raider. Let's compare it to The Old Guard.
Yeah.
Female-led action movies, and in particular, this one has got martial arts like crazy.
Yeah, they're really good. Mm-hmm. It's something that really reminded me of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Mm-hmm. So you had said that Ang Lee was to...
That's right.
He'd been approached to direct this, and he declined. His influence can still be found in this, even though he wasn't directly involved.
And that is not a bad thing.
No.
I just think it's interesting how many different flavors of the Chinese culture they have sort of blended to make the melange that we get in Mulan here. Because obviously this is a centuries-old tradition. A very, very old story that has been repeated over centuries. So it's kind of cool that we are bringing it even now into the 21st century with us, with our own spin on it, of course, our own unique take. But I think this is a great story to carry forward in that tradition.
Sure it is.
But I think also Niki Caro is in the director's seat doing, I think, a really great job. This was the, I think, largest budget a female director has ever had to work with.
Well, it shows.
Yeah,
it's a beautiful movie.
It does. You could tell where those dollars were spent, and they were spent wisely. But I was just thinking about your comment about, the martial arts here really work. There's a lot of action. There's a lot going on. But I think you better bring the goods if you cast Jet Li in a non-action role, which they have.
They did.
So you cannot do that. You cannot misuse Jet Li and not make sure you've got the bona fides. So Mandy Walker is the cinematographer. I'm going to say the brilliant cinematographer on this movie, because there is like a whole plethora of backgrounds that we are checking out.
Lots of
terrain, and oh my gosh, great use of color on the screen too.
Yes, absolutely.
There is a phoenix that sort of replaces the Mushu character. It's sort of the representation of the ancestors protecting her.
Sort of. It doesn't talk though. So
no, it does
it's
not.
a little better.
Right. But my goodness, every time it's on screen, it's like breathtaking and it's eye-catching.
Yeah, and I think they're good because it's not used a whole lot.
No.
I think that makes it more striking when it does appear.
That's right. So we have a strong cast, led, of course, by the lovely Yifei Liu, who I think is really great in the role.
She is. Yeah, she does a great job with the dramatic scenes and the action scenes. And she rides a horse, and she does a whole lot of other things.
That's right. She fences practically. There's a lot of like sword fighting. So this is, a very involved, very movement carrying you forward more than actual plot and story does. It is incredible. It's a tough role because it's extremely dual-natured, but she pulls it off. I know that there is controversy with this actress, having said some things about Hong Kong and the protests there that have led people want to boycott the movie.
I mean, that's a touchy subject.
It is.
It's unfortunate that politics is a part of our lives and a part of movies. I don't know what the answer is there. I don't know what she said, but anything you say seems to be the wrong thing. And if you say nothing, that's also the wrong decision. So, I don't know. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, it's tough.
I guess make China a democracy. Hooray. Problem solved.
Hooray.
Because our democracy is already so low.
I just don't think boycotting Mulan is probably going to solve the problems in China, particularly since this is not actually a Chinese film. This is an American film. It is made by Disney.
Yeah.
And, they tried their very best to cast an all-Chinese cast. It's a lovely cast. Donnie Yen plays Commander Tang. Yoson as the new love interest, I guess you could say. It's kind of a low-key thing, but they definitely have an intimate friendship between the two men at war, which I think is probably true. I think at war you make fast friends, right?
Well, you have to.
You're living with them, bunking with them, eating with them, cuddling with them at night.
Yeah, but it's not really a romantic aspect of it as much as it was in the animated movie.
Well, it was hardly romantic for most of the time there.
All right, fair.
I think there was just a respect and admiration. And when you find out she has boobs, well,
perfect.
Cha-ching, yes. Jet Li, of course, we mentioned, plays the Emperor. What I thought was great was a certain someone pops up near the end in a cameo. It is like the old passing the torch to the new, and I really appreciated seeing that little cameo.
I'm glad you pointed that out, because I wouldn't have recognized her.
Well, that's because she was just a voice in the first one, so you have to actually know who Ming-Na Wen is. But it was so fantastic to see her. I think that is such a great nod. And there were other nods. There were little details. I loved seeing the comb, of course.
Of course.
And the score, this time by Harry Gregson Williams, does incorporate. You hear that very familiar refrain of the Reflection song that Christina Aguilera did re-record for this movie, which is great. There's another one come out. It is called Loyal, Brave, and True. And if you have seen the movie, you know why that is so important. So actually I'll link up here and at the end if I remember to put in our movie playlist. So you can click on that and listen to the songs because they're pretty great. So I did enjoy the callbacks to the original movie. Certainly, you know, all the basics are there. Mulan is this spunky young woman and has been maybe somewhat indulged by her family growing up. But when we meet her, she is now a young woman who needs to make an auspicious match because the way for her to bring honor to her family is in landing a good husband and being a good wife. And a good wife is quiet, subservient, invisible.
So not Mulan.
Not Mulan, yeah. And the matchmaking process is not going all that well. So when war comes calling, not only can she save her father, she can get the heck out of Dodge and the arranged marriage she was about to be forced into.
It's a win-win.
Some would say. Some would say, yeah, going to war is better than getting married.
Not me.
So yes, she goes to save her father, who is disabled, but as the only man in the family, he would have been the one called had she not gone. Her going, everybody talks about how she has disgraced her family. But if she exposes herself now that she's at the army, she's going to either be disgraced or beheaded. Which, you know.
Yeah, that's a lose-lose.
That's a lose-lose. That's right. Once she gets into the boot camp, you know, the original, the movie, the cartoon, turned it into kind of a fun overnight summer camp kind of feel with a training montage and a fun song by Donny Osmond.
That's right.
This one really reminds you that this is actually a war movie. These people are going to put their lives on the line, and a lot of them won't be coming back. So they take the training very seriously. Nobody sings, nobody cracks jokes. And yeah, they go to war. And it's rough. But it is not, it has a PG-13 rating on it.
Yeah,
but there's not
blood.
gore. There's no blood at all, I don't think.
No, I don't think so. There, like, some people get shot with arrows, but it's very, non-bloody.
Yes, it's minimal. Probably more minimal than a lot of cartoons are these days. So yeah, it is not appropriate for very young children, probably just because it's a long movie and very sort of action oriented rather than the cartoon aspect would be. So that was maybe the only place that rubbed me a little wrong. And I can't even say it's wrong because I don't know what I would take out to put this in.
Yeah.
But I did miss a little bit of character development. You know, we run into Mulan, you know, very shortly before she takes off to war. So we only know those basic things about her, but that is far more than we learn about anyone else. And, you know, while you can kind of understand, like, the other soldiers in her troop are basically caricatures of, you know, this one's the friendly one, this one is the not friendly one, and this one...
Kind of. I mean, there's not even really that much to go on.
Okay.
They're just a few different faces that we understand are part of the team.
Yes.
Yeah, as you said, that's sort of a weakness of the movie. The characters aren't strong, but I don't think they would have been better to add additional runtime to this movie to put that in. I think it's better as just a straight action movie from A to B, and yeah, these characters are just peripheral for the most part.
Okay. I would have liked to seen a little more from the villains. I think there are kind of two villains in this movie. One, I think, is a pretty classic bad guy. You know, he's greedy, he wants power, he's invading a country, and
he wants revenge.
Sure.
Revenge and power.
That's pretty classic, isn't it?
That's pretty classic.
But he's operating with a woman. And she, I thought, was by far more interesting of the two villains. And I really love that final moment, that final showdown between she and Mulan. I think it's kind of fantastic the way it goes down. And I just think if we knew more about her backstory, I think it could have been even stronger.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because I think maybe she and Mulan have more in common.
They have a lot in common
than they know.
Yeah, and it's touched on. But you're right, it's not as strong as it might have been if we knew more about this villain and her past.
And even both of them together were not as scary to me as Shan Yu the Hun from the animated movie. And I know you're just going to say it's because I was a little girl when that came out, but no, I have rewatched it, and I still feel him so chilling, so sinister. And there's no backstory for him either, and yet he just carries this angry presence that I find really effective, especially for a kids movie. Like I get such a dark, scary feeling from it.
Just what they were going for.
Yeah, I guess so. It's funny that the cartoon version has
a more scary villain.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think on the whole, this movie really worked for me. There is fantastic action sequences, really well choreographed. They call to mind some other things, which is great. Nothing like breaking any barriers or new ground.
No, I wouldn't say any of this is super memorable or, new, but it's good. It's well done.
It is very well done. As everything is. Everything works well. The cast is strong. I think the script is pretty strong in that it's constantly moving forward. And it's really kind of playing up that theme of who she's supposed to be as opposed to who she is. And so she starts off having to quiet down her chi, which is what they called spunk in the ancient Chinese, because girls weren't supposed to have it. And then she has to suppress the girl to bring out her chi when she's at war. And so just watching that transformation of her finally being able to take ownership of both of those things at the same time.
To be her true self.
That's right. Loyal, brave, and true.
Yep.
Not quiet,
No,
obedient, and invisible. Yeah. So, it is a good story. It was a good story. It's a better story now, I think. They have made some good changes to the story that I think make it a little more appropriate for audiences today. So, I was happy we paid our $35.99.
Yeah, it's worth it. That's what we would have paid in the theater, and either way, it's a good movie, so I feel like we got our money's worth. And we can watch it again if we want to.
That's right. That is the sort of advantage of this rental fee. It is a long-term rental, really. It doesn't expire in 48 hours, so you will be able to rewatch it. Up until everyone is able to watch it on Disney+. So one more little housekeeping item to bring up. We did have a giveaway for Mulan.
That's right, we did.
So we will be announcing our winner. Sean probably has already forgotten because we pulled right before we came.
Yeah, I did forget.
It's Karen L. Hello, Karen.
Yay.
She does a wonderful cruelty-free makeup channel. I will post that as well. So check her out because the channel is great. She has luminous, beautiful skin and sparkly blue eyes, and you will love her to bits and pieces. And her dog Sam too.
Oh, I'm sold. Congratulations.
I knew you would be, yes. And we've got more giveaways coming up in the next weeks because Wonder Woman comes out next month.
Not long.
Oh my gosh, I'm excited for
Me
that
too.
one. Okay, so thank you so much for watching. Please let us know if you did check out Mulan and what you thought about it. And I'm going to remind myself a second time to put the link to this song so you can check those out too. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. Bye.